Ultima VIII, The Lost Vale. So as every Ultima fan knows, the Lost Vale was supposed to be the expansion pack, or rather add-on for Ultima VIII. It was all finished, ready to go, but EA decided to cancel it due to lower than expected sales of Ultima VIII Pagan, which is an absolute shame because for those of you who watched my Ultima VIII video, you would know I really do love that game. I love the story, I love the atmosphere, the world, the lore books, pretty much all of it, despite the fact that the game is very unfinished. And one of the things I mentioned in my Ultima VIII video, I believe, was the fact that I wish we got the Lost Vale. All we have is the box art and those screenshots you see floating around on the internet. I also realized I could have talked about the Lost Vale in my Ultima VIII video, since it seems like this is going to be much shorter than I thought it would be, but oh well. Consider this the add-on to my Ultima VIII video. And without further ado, let's get started. So it's 1994 and you're playing Ultima VIII Pagan and you're having an absolute blast until you came across these double doors in the plateau near Mithran's house. It's locked, so you search up and down, left and right, look under every rock, every stone, talk to every NPC, explore practically every inch of Pagan, only to find out that years later you've just wasted your time and that these doors lead basically nowhere. Well, according to the design documents you can find at the GOG extras, the key would have been found through Mithran. When you install the disc, the avatar would receive a vision from Lord British, who tells him that Nistel broke through the Guardian's veil of magic in order to send him the message across the cosmos. He basically urges him to go ahead and find a mage named Mithran and ask him about the ancient race of people who used to live on Pagan, the Zealands. When the avatar finally meets Mithran, he tells him where the key can be found, in which case the avatar would have to solve some damn puzzle to get the key, according to what's written in this document here. Behind those doors is not the Lost Vale just yet, it's actually a dungeon. It's split apart into 4 sections, much like the Ethereal Void is, with each area corresponding with its respective element. Before even exploring the dungeon though, the avatar finds a corpse of a guy named Gaudron, who Mithran actually earlier asked him to find. You find some really interesting stuff in his journal which mentions how to get to the Lost Vale, as well as an interesting bit where Gaudron mentions that he was hoping to depose the Titans in order to become the Titan of Ether. A pretty cool little bit to let the player know and the avatar know that he can become a Titan after mastering the 4 elemental schools of magic, but either way, Gaudron also mentions that he has to find the 4 gemstones in order to dispel the 4 blockades leading to the Lost Vale. When the avatar arrives, he finds a land once lush and vibrant, now desolate and barren. Basically, the Zealands here have been trapped by the Titans during the Zealand Pagan Wars a long time ago, back when the Guardian was attempting to conquer the planet and destroy it with the Titans. Due to the Zealand's confinement and many centuries of inbreeding, as well as a lack of water, lack of food, and basically a lack of anything, the leftover Zealand communities here have split into 2 factions over the murder of 2 boys, who each side blames the other for murdering. One faction believes they should just go ahead and leave the Vale and go live with the Pagans, and the other faction believes otherwise. The avatar's quest here is to basically heal the blood feud between 2 clans, and in order to do that, he has to scale the Cliffs of Insanity in order to make it to the Cloud World, which is the home of the gods. The avatar finds out here that the reason why the remaining Zealand gods in the Vale weren't talking to the Zealands in the first place was because they were trapped by the Titans back during the war between the Pagans and the Zealands. In order to free the gods, the avatar has to talk to Ezrakal, the high priestess of the Zealand Order, and restore an item called the Shield of the Ancients, which would help renew the faith of the Zealand people. The gods are released, the water flows, plants bloom, and the avatar gets a lot of cool stuff such as a bag of reagents, a shield that maxes out his armor rating, and an increase to his attributes. So all in all, the Lost Vale would have introduced 5 new maps, 2 new monsters, and the additional storyline which I mentioned. Those 2 monsters would have been a harpy and a water zombie. The notes even mentioned that they were hoping to come up with a more original monster for Pagan, a more unique monster design. If you guys remember, I talked about how the monster designs in Pagan were very, very interesting and unique to its environment. The harpy, for example, as the note says, they were already present in Britannia in Ultima VII, but it does make sense with Avatar having to go to the Cloud World that there would be harpies along the way. Either way, it's a shame we never got the Lost Vale. My personal thoughts is that if Ultima 8 was actually finished and the Lost Vale got released, when the Avatar would go ahead and release the rest of the Zealand gods back to the Zealand people and he deposes the Titans, I could have seen the story team come up with something like, oh, I don't know, maybe the Zealand gods come back to the Pagans and now they can be ruled under the Zealand gods, no longer under the tyrannical rules of the Titans. And, you know, the Avatar would have restored Pagan almost back to its original state. Now that the Titans are gone, now that he's a Titan himself, the Zealand gods are released, water's flowing into the Lost Vale, food's becoming abundant, grasses are growing green, etc., etc. I don't know, man. It's just a shame we never got this expansion. All we have is the box art, the screenshots, all that stuff, and that's great. Which brings me to another point. I could have sworn that a long time ago, I was talking with Ultima VIII Pagan with a few people on a forum or reading about it or something, that someone actually has a boxed copy of Ultima VIII The Lost Vale in their private collection. Now, I'm not talking about the box that was sold for like $2,000 in 2005 or something like that. I'm talking about an actual copy of The Lost Vale. Now, I could have misremembered because I cannot find information on this, so it's possible I could have mistaken this for the actual box that was sold. But either way, I'm just really surprised that Richard Garriott himself does not have a source code or copy of Lost Vale anywhere in his collection, because that guy still has the same computer that he used to code Akalabeth with. But anyways, yeah, it turns out this was shorter than I thought, so I'm going through my notes here, making sure I got everything I wanted to say before I end this video. I suppose I mentioned that the people who worked on the Lost Vale were just a few Ultima experienced Origin employees, one of them being Sherry Grainer, who wrote the story basically to Ultima 8, as well as designed the concept, the initial concept and original concept of Silver Seed or Serpent Isle. So if she was behind the Lost Vale, then I would have been pretty impressed with the Lost Vale storyline, just like I was with Pagan. It's just a shame we didn't get this expansion pack. It would have been a great thing to have for Ultima 8, honestly. Imagine working on something for so long, you finally finish it, and your higher uppers tell you, no, we're not going to release it after all. That must suck. So in conclusion, I'll mention that I was actually going to do a step-by-step of what happens in the Lost Vale by going through the design documents, but I actually had to scrap most of it because I felt it was too boring, and I'd rather just go ahead and explain the really important bits while explaining my thoughts on the Lost Vale and my last overall thoughts in regards to Ultima 8 Pagan. I know a lot of Ultima players do not like Ultima 8 Pagan, but, well, I do. And on top of Ultima 9 being one of my disappointments, the other would be the Lost Vale not getting released and Ultima 8 not getting finished. So, yeah, just blame EA, that's what I do. And you can blame Ultima Online as well for Ultima 9. But anyways, that's it.